Thanks for joining us here on Real Estate Jerky. I'm your host, Ed Parco, president of Lending for Living, along with Marlene Chaplin, my trusty sidekick and co-host. We are on the road, keeping things real and relevant throughout Stanislaus, San Joaquin, Merced counties, and into the foothills of Tuolumne County and Calaveras. Our studios, wherever we have a solid Wi-Fi connection, and our fabulous engineer, Mike Murray, and the incredible radio signal of iHeartMedia and this station, KFIV. You know, we always bring you something to chew on here at Real Estate Jerky. The topic of the day always revolves around real estate, investing in our communities from many different aspects. If you have questions, please call or text me at 209-404-1915. Again, that was 404-1915. Or email us at radio@realestatejerky. Hello, Marlene. And I can't say that word.
No way.
I
want to
say I want to say K Paso.
Oh my gosh.
Como está? No. Dos Equis?
Well,
Dos Cervezas, por favor. That's the only ones I know.
I know. You go to Mexico.
La Quinta?
I mean, COVID kind of no, everybody out there is going, this is really bad radio. Why are they on
no,
here?
It's not
Who
really bad radio.
Gave them the rights to that. It's Que Paso. Say it. You can do it.
Que Paso.
There you go. Que Paso. So, Ed, I'm actually pretty excited for you and everyone in your field today.
Why is that?
Well, because
was I not supposed to jump in there? Was that not my line?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. There's no line in there for me.
Yeah, there is actually, but that's okay. I know. There is actually, but
my
that's
field
okay.
Up in Sonora. Oh, my 32 acres. Is that what I'm supposed to say? It just doesn't sound like me. Sorry. You know, when they write
it actually does, but that's okay. See, that's why the actors and actresses that can read scripts and stuff make the big giant bucks and make you believe it. Right. That's why they get the big bucks. Because
are you saying I don't get paid because I don't make you believe it?
No, when we talk about some things, which we're going to talk about today, in your wheelhouse, you are amazing. And that is mortgage home loans. You are amazing. You know that backwards, forwards, VA loans, reverse mortgages. It stuns me how much I make jokes to people when I refer you and tell them he has forgotten more than most of the people in the industry even know. So it just takes for you a situation to bring you back to that. Well, today, we're going to talk to somebody that even me, who's only been kind of a cursory, vicariously involved in the real estate industry most all of my career. I even know who this guy is. So I'm really excited. He's iconic, very relevant in your industry. And I think he's very relevant today. And that's Todd Duncan.
Right. But you know, you don't have this on here, but I'm going to throw this in here. Basically, I think he's relevant to any industry that you're selling in, because he created a book back in the 90s. I think I have a copy of it right here.
It's the 20th anniversary. Haven't you read it? Had you read it?
Have I read it? I have the original one. Hold on.
Really?
I have, see that?
I trust selling. I went and bought it.
The pages are so dirt, you know, it's bad. It's so old. I had to get a new one a couple of years ago. And this one I got from him, and I think it was signed, or I have one that's signed by him somewhere.
Wow.
I have a lot of these. Maybe one of my staff has it, or I have it hidden somewhere, but these are the ones I leave out for people to read. And the reason is because it makes a lot, you know, we're all in selling, whether you're talking to your kids not to run across the road, you name it, you're going in for a new job, or you're going in for a raise, you have to sell yourself. It's important to know how to sell that. Well, he talks about high trust sales, which means basically people trust you because you give them the knowledge that you need and you're the expert in the industry. And that's what I've tried to be. And that's why I do the radio show, to get that education out there for people so they understand what's going on in the mortgage industry.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV with our host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran, mortgage advisor, and president of Lending for Living. You've got real estate questions or you need help, you can reach out to Ed at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404 or here's something easier. Just visit lendingforliving.com, or you can email us both at radio@realestatejerky.com. I had no idea. See that I would have gotten the book from you. I never did get it.
I have all his books.
You just ripped that. That's like when the first time when Alan and I started talking way back when, and those of you who don't know our story, it was very nice, but I won't. And we were talking. You have more Todd Duncan books.
Well, the funny thing is,
there was a couple of others.
So young on this one. This is when he was talking
about.
Does
he have hair?
Yeah, he actually has hair.
We all had hair
when we were younger, but thanks for throwing that in there.
You're welcome. Only because I was told that my hair would thin out when I got older, and that has not happened for me. So I shave half my head. For those of you,
you're one of the lucky ones.
I don't know how lucky that is. Believe me.
Yeah, but what I'm getting is I learned a lot from him in my early career. I went to all his stuff, his sales mastery, which is an event been putting on for almost 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. It's the 30th anniversary this year.
Right. And I mean, he teaches you how to talk to people, how to connect with people back in the day, because he started in like 79 or 78. We're
going to talk to him. But one of the things
but
that I think,
that's how
why is it relevant? So why is it relevant when we usually talk to homeowners or home buyers? And why I think it's relevant, and I was excited to have him on, was I think that our culture has absolutely decimated our ability to trust today. And I don't just mean that in the United States. I mean that in the entire world right now. I think our trust has just been our ability to trust. I think we want to trust. That's why we can be scammed, because we want to. It's built into us to trust. It's built into us to trust and have, what do we say, Ed? Trusted advisor. That's what we say here on the show, that when you're going to go out there and buy a house, maybe just one time you're going to do it in your life. We hope that you're going to do it a couple of times, but maybe you just get to do it once. So you got all the money you're ever going to spend, the biggest chunk of money you're ever going to spend, and you do it once, and you're supposed to trust. And that's what we help with here, right? Mm-hmm. I think what's relevant about what Todd Duncan teaches and espouses is how do you do that? And that's why I think not only for the real estate industry, so all of our realtor friends out there, thanks for listening. All of our mortgage lender friends out there who don't admit they listen, but do. And do you find that when you're out there?
They never tell me.
They don't tell you. Well, they tell me.
But I know a lot of people who
they tell me they do
in other areas who really like our lives and the stuff that we do on top of the radio show, because then they can react to it on that point where right now you can't really react to it. So.
Well, they can text us,
make comments. They can send in bad emails to you. That Ed's so mean to you.
He's not mean. Nobody thinks that. They think I'm mean to you, which is kind of funny.
Which is the truth.
Jeez. I mean, if they saw us standing next to each other, that would just
I don't think it matters. And that's the problem where, you have to be careful. As a big guy, you always call the police when you get hit by a woman so that they don't turn it around that you hit them first, kind of thing. And I'm not talking like getting your ass. I'm just saying you get out of that situation, move on if you're in that. But today's show is going to be good. And I was surprised when they reached out wanting to be on the show because, it's we're here to educate, and I'm glad you were able to get them on, and we have it today.
Because it's going to be a great thing. So what is the future of real estate in California, and who can you trust for advice about real estate? And so, as we've said, coming up is one of the leading authorities on trust in the real estate industry, who's mentored and led the best, the brightest. And Ed, it's great to hear that. See, I didn't even know how much you had relied on Todd Duncan.
Everything, I've known every one of his people who went from a regular loan officer, moved out to create great stuff, and then they came back. It's a whole cycle. He has taught so many people in this industry who went on to do other things to help the industry.
Well, that's kind of what I'm hoping today, that he can help us in our industry here. And also, I think there's some very bright people out there right now who are struggling. I think struggling hard because it's not even a new normal. We are somewhere we've never, ever been before. So if that sounds like you or someone you know, quick, tell them, tune in, get on, start listening, because we're bringing on a man with over 30 years of experience of communicating what trust looks like and training people to understand it and build it in themselves. Todd is known as the Tony Robbins in the mortgage industry. His insight and his experience are crucial. You definitely need to hear what Todd has for us here in the San Joaquin Valley. So stay right there.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
Welcome back. I'm Marlene Champlin, sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parco, here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, where we always give you something to chew on. Questions or comments for Ed? Then dial him up. He'll answer 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. I am very, very excited to have our guest on. I'm honored actually to join. He's joining us. He's spoken all over the world. But for me, what I'm most interested in hearing about today is how our guest navigates today's culture, particularly real estate, by ways of his mantra, which is trust yourself, your relationships, your faith, and your future. I know you're excited to help me welcome Todd Duncan. Hello, Todd.
Good day, my dear. Good to be with you guys. And thanks for the opportunity to join you.
And Todd, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. But a lot of people didn't know today how long I've known you or been to your events. I remember, it's been I started in the late 1999 or something like that into 2000. Just because previous to that, I was just always doing refinances. That's all we ever did. And then I got into the purchase business, and then it was more what you talk about, which is the high trust selling and how important that is. So thank you for being here.
You know what? We go way back, and I remember poolside chats, and I remember seeing you and connecting with you, and here we are today, and we're still waking up and trying to make a difference. So it's awesome to hang out together today. So thanks again, Ed. I appreciate it.
Oh, anytime.
Yep.
All right. So a little history, if you don't know, as I said with Todd Duncan, now you started, was it 79 that you started in the industry?
No, 80. 80.
Oh, 80, 1 year older.
No, but what's fascinating is here we are in present day reality, and everybody keeps talking about the economy. And the last time the economy was this bad was in 1980. I just happened to become a loan originator like 4 months after graduating from college. And I didn't know anything except, they're high rates, but that's the only rates we have. And it's so funny today to think back that, wow, that was the market then. This is the market now. And in between, there've been 4 decades. That's crazy.
Right. Because when I got in, I was taking people from 13 to 9 and they loved me. And now they're all complaining about, how low the rates were and where we are right today. And it's like, this is how a normal economy actually, this is not a normal, but, as we grow and actually advance as a country, and the economy takes off, this is what happens to rates. They go back up to a reasonable rate. And a lot of people don't realize is the 2% was because we were in a recession during the pandemic, which recessions are always hindsight, it after the fact.
Right. Yeah. But I think what it brings up, which is interesting, is I helped almost with my team. We helped almost 6,000 people finance real estate in 12 years. I had 13 realtor partners. It was at the age of 34 that I decided that, maybe what I want to do is maybe I want to start a company to teach people, in the mortgage space how to do this. And then it took off, and I sold my practice to my assistants. And then I started this company in 1993. 1993. And, here we are nearly 30 years later, and we just get the gift every day of waking up and still impacting not only loan originators and mortgage professionals, but their teams and their real estate partners. And then obviously the coup de grace is impacting the experience that buyers and sellers have as they use a lender to finance and purchase and then sell real estate. So it's been a great ride. And in many ways, I feel like we're just getting warmed up because High Trust Selling was written 20 years ago. We're celebrating the anniversary right now. And people ask me, don't you need to update the laws? And I said, no, I don't need to update the laws, because I wrote them with the idea that if I were to die the day after the book got published, all the laws would last 100 years. And so we got 80 more years to go. And I think the laws will still work because I'll be long gone after that. But anyway, it's been fun. It's been fun to watch people adopt the high trust methodology.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, and our guest, Todd Duncan. You can reach out to Todd at toddduncan.com. There's a lot of D's in there. It made me think about that with my daughter and my kids when they were in school saying, but mom, D's get degrees. So you get a degree with Todd Duncan. You get a degree in high trust and what that looks like. So it's TODD, another D, 3 D's in the middle there, toddduncan.com. And if you'd like to talk to our host, Ed Parco, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't right now, because if you're buying a house, we were talking about it off mic. It's, for a lot of people, it's a one and done. You do it once, maybe twice, and it's the biggest chunk of money you're going to spend. You need a trusted advisor. What does that look like? So call Ed, even if you can't use Ed for whatever reasons, at least he can give you some really good advice. 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. And you can email us, and you'll get me actually, radio@realestatejerky.com. So 20 years since you wrote that book, High Trust Selling, 30 years you've been doing high trust.
Is that your belly, Marlene?
I know it's you know what, Murphy, I'm so sorry. As we said in the beginning, Ed always says it. I don't know. My dog's decided to be naughty. The last 2 times, I'm not sure why. He wants to be on the air. I don't know. Murphy, stop. And so what I wanted to know, Todd, and I've asked Ed this question many times, I'm going to ask you. Not only it's obvious why you got into teaching people, I think, after talking to you. So I think we'll just let that go. Why did you decide to get into real estate?
It was very interesting when I became a loan originator, obviously not having a training background and not really having an idea on what to do. I was given 26 real estate offices to call on. And I started in my southernmost office, which was in San Clemente, California. And my goal, according to my manager, was to make it through all 26 offices every week. And so I would take, I took that whole route, 26 offices, and broke it into 4 days. And I would call in 3 or 4 offices a day. And, I thought it'd take the whole day, but I would call in an office and everybody would get busy. They would look at me coming through the front door. And you could tell that they knew a sales call was about to happen. And I was really having a hard time getting traction. And so one day I had enough common sense to stop the insanity, and I went to the beach, and I got to thinking about this career, and I said, I'm not having any fun. I've been 4 days into it. I've been rejected 1,000 times, and I'm not sure I want to do this. And it dawned on me that maybe what I could do is call my friend from college. We'd both just graduated. His dad owned a real estate company, and kind of go by and hang out for a couple hours and see what happens. And so I did that on my 5th day in the business. And between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock, I counted 21 title reps and mortgage professionals, quote, end quote, that came through the front door. And they all were trying to do the same thing I had done previously in those 4 days, until the very end of the day. A guy named John Barnes walked through the front door. He was about my height, 6'5". He was dressed to the tens. He had a leather folio, and he introduced himself to the receptionist and then disappeared. And he had an appointment with a gal named Paula Richardson. She happened to be the #1 agent for RE/MAX in the United States. And so I was fascinated with what had happened. And 45 minutes later, they both emerged. and he thanks her for her time and vice versa. And then he extends his hand and he said, I look forward to a long and mutually profitable partnership. And so what ended up happening is I realized that realtors can be really, really fun, or realtors can be a pain in the rear end. It's about what you do and how you create relationship. And so the thing he told me very early on, and this is something I want all your listeners to hear, he told me to make a choice between pursuing transactions and pursuing relationships. And I was confused because I thought they were both the same. And he said, no, if you pursue transactions, you'll be one and done. You'll do a bunch of them, and transactions can make you a living, but relationships will make you a fortune. So I decided right then and there that I was going to adopt that sales strategy and that I would go after relationships. And in order to get the best relationships, I had to know what the best people do. So at the age of 23, I got my real estate broker's license. And then I got engaged in the real estate side and the lending side, helping my real estate partners really understand how we can take this idea of relationships and apply it to buyers and apply it to sellers, and then build this funnel where we can serve them for life. And, you know, whether they do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more purchases or sales or a bunch of refis, or if they're plugged into a community and they can, you know, introduce us to people that need our help. It was my decision to build the relationship. And we did 5,962 transactions in 12 years. And I think it is because I knew how to approach the right realtors. I knew how to add value to their life. I knew how to do business planning with them. I knew how to educate them so they could get faster results and make more money in less time. And that really, Marlene, at the very, very simplistic foundation is the choice I made. And I believe today that anybody, realtor or lender, could make the same decision. Are you pursuing relationships, or are you pursuing transactions? And that was a decisive moment in my life.
Right. I want to add to that, because what you say between real estate and loan officers, but your high trust can work in any industry to build relationships. And because everybody's listening to this is not always going to be in the mortgage industry or in the real estate industry, but what your book does is it teaches you how to build relationships and how to do that long-term, relationship with them. And I think anybody could utilize this book in the way they sell.
Yeah, we have attorneys, we have estate planners, we're deeply entrenched in the financial services business. We have, I work with the largest hair care company in the world, teaching 500,000 sales professionals high trust selling. It doesn't matter. My dentist has followed the high trust practice and built a dental practice that has scaled by over 4,000% in top line revenue in 20 years. And that's just insane, right? So it works everywhere. And by the way, Ed, to your point, high trust is a great marital concept. It's a great relational concept, a great parental concept. Your kids need to learn how high trust works, and I need to be a high trust father. I mean, it personifies what I think people need to understand, that trust is actually the superpower to relationships, and you can't even have a relationship unless there's high trust.
And that's really what I want to talk to. So talk to that when we come back. How many ways are there to make, as our host Ed Parco says, California golden again? Besides all the things we always talk about here on Real Estate Jerky, like voting, educating yourself, serving others, but really it starts with accountability, and we're looking for it in others. But what if we built it first in ourselves? What if we worked on becoming the person we could trust? We'll talk more about trust and how to build it with our guest, the authority on trust, Todd Duncan, when we come back. If you've got questions, please text or call Ed at 209-404-1915. You want to learn how to build trust in yourself and relationships, then don't go away.
Our new reverse mortgage product limits can change the way you live out the rest of your life.
This is Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and mortgage guru and president of Lending for Living. We're talking to today's guest, who I've been really excited to bring to you because of his subject matter. It's Todd Duncan. He's a thought leader, and really, he's the Tony Robbins of the mortgage industry. But better than that, he's marching across the country to encourage and inspire all of us about building trust. Todd, high trust. We were talking about it when we went to break, and how important it is. So with your high trust selling and your mastery events, how do you do that? And one of the quotes, by the way, that you said, and that made me go, okay, this seems like a complete dichotomy in that if building trust is like filling a bucket one drop at a time, then how do you, as you say, do more while with less stress and fast? How does that happen?
Well, I think the first thing that I would say is it's super important to develop trust in yourself. And there's a couple ways to really kind of think through that. First of all, is it's really hard to trust yourself if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. And there's a lot of talk. You can type into Google, how do I find my why? And there's like 700 million ways to find your why, but it all comes down to one thing. I've been talking about this for 25 years, and that is, what brings you alive? I mean, why do you do what you do? And so when you love what you do, you have a proclivity to desire to get better at it. And part of how part of how we trust ourselves is having some level of why we do what we do, but then backing that with a level of doing it well. And so there's a process that people go through, and you'll go through it for your whole life. And I go through it, today being the author of this concept. And I go through it because I want to continue to get better. And I want to continue to trust what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, and with whom am I doing it. And we go through this kind of process of first, we must gain competence. And whatever the relational methodology is, you've got to gain competence in the questions, the dialogues, the listening, the value interchange and the value exchange, and one piece of value at a time, to use the drop in a bucket consistently, is the super glue that keeps relationship going. But I got to get competent first. When I get competent, then I develop confidence. And when I can develop confidence, I'm able to do more quickly with less stress. I'm able to make more money in less time. And when I develop that confidence, then it leads to this area of consistency. And that's the other way that you make more money in less time. So I'll give you an example. When I first started off, it would take me about an hour to influence a borrower into a relationship with me. Today, I could sit down with a borrower, in 5 minutes in, they could go, I'm ready to sign, let's go. And so if you develop competence around asking really game-changing questions, and the questions are centric to the consumer, not about you, and you have a deep desired interest to learn what is not only important to them, but learn what is most important to them, you can shave the amount of time it takes to create trust off by 80 or 90%. And so who would not opt for that? Like, if it took me an hour to have one conversation with a borrower to get them to go forward, and now I can do it in 5 or 10 minutes, what does that mean? It means in the same hour, at 10 minutes each, I could have 6 borrower consultations. How much more money will you make by impacting 5 more people in the same hour it used to take you to impact 1? And that's the methodology behind high trust. I'll give you one example, and then I think you guys will resonate with this. So we had a workshop in January, about 90 days ago, and we taught this concept, which your listeners can download off our website. It's called Talk Less, Sell More. And what we did is we said, I really want you to go back into the marketplace, and over the next 30 days, I want you to figure out what one question you could ask a borrower that one question would get them to say yes to doing business with you. And I said, I want you to do it with at least 10 borrowers and at least 10 real estate agents. And I told the real estate agents to do it with 10 sellers and 10 buyers. And we would come back 30 days later and have a discussion. So we did that. And we came back, and I asked for volunteers to share the impact. This guy, Tim, says, I've got to tell you this. This is mind blowing. And I said, so tell us. And he goes, I had a husband and wife that were in Anchorage, Alaska. They were moving to Portland, Oregon. And we had a Zoom call going on, and I'd been referred to them by Jeannie, my realtor. And so I got on the phone with them and kind of just affirmed Jeannie as their real estate professional and committed to helping them navigate this process. And I said, before we get started on anything, I just want to ask you this question. What would it mean to you to own a home? What would it mean to you to own a home? 10 words, right? And the wife started crying in about 5 seconds, and the husband followed her in about 20 seconds, and they both began sobbing. And Tim just sat back in the chair and let the emotion flow. And when the wife could finally muster the words, she said, again, shaking and crying, if we could own a home, we would be the first couple in the history of our family to own real estate. And Tim let that sink in for about a minute. And he looked at both the husband and wife and he said, I'm going to help you do that. Are you ready to get started? That conversation took 5 minutes and the borrower was locked and loaded and ready to go. That's what happens. Period. End of story.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV with our guest, our very special guest, Todd Duncan. You can reach out to Todd at toddduncan.com. And I made a joke earlier, but I really mean it. You get a degree in life. D's get degrees. There's a lot of D's. Todd, Todd, another D for Duncan.com. And our advisor, mortgage advisor, who's amazing, our trusted advisor. I've said it for years. I'm going to say it again. If you want to buy a home, you're thinking about it. Even if you think you can't, but you're gainfully employed in this market. Ed would agree. I'm not speaking out of turn. You can buy a house. It's just a matter of when, not if. So call Ed 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915 or visit lendingforliving.com. That was amazing. I wish I would have known you a long time ago, Todd. I knew who you were because, as I said, I've been vicariously around the real estate industry, but it's taken me years and years to come up. I'm in advertising, as you know. And my question is, because I deal with some people who may have inherited the company that they're running or through, it wasn't a choice per se. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. And my question now, so I know where we're going with the corporation, I don't care the size of the company. If money and education were off the table, what would you do?
What would I do?
And
are you asking him or are you asking?
I'm asked. That's what I ask my clients now. I ask them before their clients, what would you do? Because I want to make sure whoever's running that company or owns that business, is this really what they would be doing? And if so, what does it look like? And if not, then maybe the question is, let's position you, let's make this badass and sell it and let you go do what you really want to do.
So the question is, if what were not available, education and
money or education, you both are satisfied. Money's not a problem. Education, you've got it. What would you do?
Culture.
It stuns me the amount of people. What would you do?
I would create a winning culture. And culture trumps strategy all day long. And let me tell you how high trust works for leaders. You don't have followers unless you have trust. And if people are following you and you don't have trust, they're only following you because they have to follow you. And nobody wants followership where people have to follow you. You want followership with people that want to follow you because of the impact that you're making in their life. And so high trust leadership is the same as high trust selling. I got to help my employees figure out their why. I've got to help my employees figure out their dreams and goals. I've got to be a resourceful leader to connect with my team. And if I have an executive group, then I've got to teach them the same thing. I had 420 senior executive directors for a multi-level marketing company online yesterday. And one of the things we talked about is you don't have to worry about winning if you're in charge. All you have to do is worry about helping the people that are helping you win. If you help the people on your team win, you will win automatically. You don't have to be about you. You have to actually, in high trust leadership, is take the spotlight off of you and put it on your employees and help them win. All the stats today tell us that money is not the number one reason why people go to work. They go to work for purpose. They go to work for meaning. They go to work because they're inspired by a vision that a company has. And if you have all the money and you have all the education, but you don't have culture, you're screwed. period. End of story. Because people aren't going to stay with you. They're not going to be loyal. They're not going to be productive. If you're helping people win, then you're going to help them produce. And the same kind of ideology of a mortgage professional advisor working with a husband and wife that are moving from one state to another is the very same thing you need to be doing with the people on your team. Like I could ask this with everybody. What's important about success to you in the workplace? What do I need to do? What do I need to own? What are your dreams and goals? Out here in my company, we have dream boards on every desk. Everybody that walks around can look at everybody's dream board. Executives can check in with an employee. You know, how are you doing there? We swiped and adapted this from Lululemon, because every store at Lululemon has the employees in that store's dream board. And so if you're a manager of a local store for Lululemon, you get to connect with your employees about their dreams, and their dreams are linked to helping customers that walk into that retail store experience the vibe of culture. And you study Lululemon and you study a growth curve that is unprecedented, and it's about vision and goals. Do you know how many leaders don't know the vision and goals of people on their team? About 99%. It's the big difference maker.
And especially today, more
Yeah.
than any other time in history.
Absolutely.
So we're going to run out of time here.
But before we do that, you're still having your sales mastery this year, right?
Yeah, 30-year anniversary. We've impacted 126,000 real estate agents and mortgage lenders, and about 14 million sellers and homeowners through the efforts that those guys then go out and make. It's October 11th through the 14th. It's the 30-year anniversary. 2,000 people live at Palm Desert, the Marriott Desert Springs Resort, 3.5 days of just rock and roll excellence, best practices, technology advancements and trust advancements, and how do we use high
and
tech.
meeting amazing people.
Oh,
and
the
meeting some
community,
amazing-
the community is the most valuable part, you know, the community
Right.
and getting to network with other like-minded thinkers. It's insane. Yeah. So there's not an event in America that's lasted 30 years that's privately held, and we're really proud of it. And I think that speaks to the content value that people experience when they come.
No, it's a
super
great event.
necessary.
Yeah.
Great
Super
event.
necessary. Ed, when's the last time you went?
It was 3 years ago.
Yeah. The last live one, right?
Right before COVID.
Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah. Last live one. And we're back live now. Listen to this. We're doing it where it started in 1992.
Yeah, that's
Same
why I saw
hotel.
Palm Desert. Yeah. I saw that because
That's-
I went there one other time a
Yeah.
long time ago, and we drove there from there. But I like the one in San Diego because there's a lot to do in San Diego.
San
Anyway,
Diego was fun,
thank
but
you
it was a little bit hard keeping people corralled, but
Well, it's not. At least it's not
It's all good.
Vegas. Yeah, Vegas is worse. But thank you so much for
100%.
being on the show today. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I didn't talk a lot because I was listening, and that's the one thing about Todd Duncan. When he talks, you want to listen. So I appreciate you coming on the show today. And we are going to have a live with them next week on Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So please show up.
Yeah. Awesome, guys.
Anything else? I hate to let you go. See, this is the thing. I think you're such a needed thing in our culture today.
I would just make sure, in however you produce this, that there's 2 downloads. One is the high trust interview, and one is the Talk Less, Sell More white paper. Somehow or another, we need to make that available to all of your listeners, because those are game changing. Real estate agents can get sellers to say yes in 1/2 of the time. You know, buyers agents can get buyers to say yes in 1/2 of the time. And the playbook on the high trust interview is for both realtors and lenders. So it's really powerful. And lenders and agents can sit down and choreograph it together. So those are just 2 free downloads. And then you did the Todd Duncan DDD. That'd be dynamic, disciplined, and definitively purposeful. Those are my 3 Ds.
Dynamic.
Disciplined. What was the last one, Lance?
Definitively.
Yeah. Definitively purposeful.
Definitively purposeful.
Those are my 3 Ds.
And back to your D thing there, Marlene, did you know most professors tell people that when you get C's and D's, you're going to own the company and the A's are going to work for you.
That's right. That's right. And you got to be resourceful. I passed calculus because I played racquetball with the teacher every Tuesday. I would have gotten an F and he gave me a C. So I never passed a test in calculus. I just played racquetball with him, and that's all it took.
I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah, guys, we'll see you soon. And thanks for the opportunity today.
All right. See you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, where we always give you something to chew on. I'm Marlene Champlin, sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. Ed.
Yes.
That was amazing. For me, it was amazing.
Yeah.
For me, it was amazing.
Well, when he talks, you listen because he's got that voice and he knows what he's talking about. But what I like is the fact that anybody listening can utilize this in any relationship they have.
Yeah, I ordered the book after interviewing him. I never had the
If you want, I'll get you one signed in September when I go down there.
Well, they offered, and and one of the things, just in this brief, I talked to him pre-interview, like almost 30 minutes. I talked, and then we talked today, right? And listened. And already what I've taken away, one of the things that, he says it so well too. I don't know if he said it, if Todd said it, but what he said was, you never stop learning. You never stop. You're always learning. You're always refining. You're always getting better at, because I guess somewhere along the line, somebody, do you think this way? Is this usual? I should figure this out by now. I should know how to do this by now.
Yeah. But one thing I tell people in the mortgage industry or the real estate industry, if you don't like it today, just wait tomorrow. It'll be worse. So change is inevitable. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's the same in any industry, I think, anymore, because technology advances so much, so fast that it just, and so it's important to keep. I know most kids go, I want to get out of college, so I don't have to learn anything anymore. It's like, no, you constantly learn stuff. You need to be reading books. And if you don't read a book, you need to listen through like Audible or some other thing so that you can take in this information, because you don't know it all and you don't know everybody. And that's what's great now with technology, where we can do the radio show from where we're at. We can do lives. We can actually have podcasts where you talk to people and listen to those. And you're in other people's sandbox that you normally wouldn't be in. Right.
What's crazy? I talked to Todd about when we were when he and I were doing the pre-interview, Ed. He did they did a virtual mastery. Mm-hmm. It was 44,000 connections. So that they're not saying people, because some of them were playing it in their offices. It was a worldwide. So for them at toddduncan.com, it became, his whole organization became something else altogether.
Right.
As big and as
$3.99 a person.
Well, one of the things I said to him was about money, because that's my struggle, and we know it's because of what I do wrong.
But actually last year it was free, and I think it was that one. And
last year that was back in person since COVID, and they did 5,000 people for free as a thank you. Yeah. But that's paying it forward. And
it's important in especially now, most people don't realize, I think rates are going to, I've been reading so many things lately. Some people think rates are going to go up a little bit more, but then come back down right away. I have a feeling we might see a 9 or a 12 in some of these interest rates. And, if we need the Fed to just slam it with 1 point and another point and just stop this.
They're not going to.
I know, but you know why, right?
Yes, but go ahead. You share. You get
because
to be
they can't afford the debt.
Correct. Thank you.
They can't afford the payment on the debt if they keep raising it up. So instead, let's just inflate it and make it work. Because if it's inflated, it's cheaper debt, right?
Yeah.
Because it's at the lower interest rate.
Yeah, and people don't. And you don't have to be. So here's the cool thing. You're listening to Real Estate Jerky. Isn't that cool? I think it is. Here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, where we always give you something to chew on with our host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran, mortgage expert, and president of Lending for Living. If you've got questions for Ed, and if you don't, I don't know why you're listening. Dial him up at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. And I'm up for a question or two, but what do I know about real estate? I just know who to send you to. You can email us at radio@realestatejerky.com.
Can we go back to the rate thing for a second?
You can go back, but don't put anybody to sleep.
No, all I'm saying is
most people, but because here's why.
Just
I
quick.
get it.
Well, it would take too long. The only thing I'm going to say is, if you're thinking about buying a home, do it now, because we have no idea where rates are going. Today is the market, because you know where rates are today. You know where the market is today. We have no idea where it's going to be next year. We could be in the 8s and 9s, have no idea. So if you're buying, and this is what they're telling us to tell people, get out now and do it. This summer should have a lot of people who are on the fence about selling their home, putting it on the market because they think that's the top of the market. It's not, but they think that. So they want to sell it now and move forward. That's all I was going to say. Don't wait. Get it going now, because we know where we are today. We have no idea in 3 months from now or 4 months from now.
And that, I think, also applies to reverse mortgages. Because
Definitely
what's going to happen here
mortgages,
shortly, as this interest rate goes up, Ed, explain it. So then our advertising co-host isn't explaining that.
Well,
why it's important on a reverse mortgage as well.
Because those rates will go up, because so they're based off a certain rate now. FHA ones are adjustable, and so most of those rates are 4 to 5 right now. So that means they're going to go up, and you're going to be adding on more interest. So there are fixed programs, but under FHA, it's one time pay off something. It's not the same as the portfolio. The one thing I found out about portfolio, which I was surprised because I thought I knew everything, is you only have to be 55 years. You don't have to be 62 on the portfolio products.
Really?
Yeah. I have a guy who called, I've been working on my YouTube channel forever, never got anything. All of a sudden I got so many calls last weekend. And one of them was a reverse mortgage, because they went to my YouTube channel, which is Ed Parco, just my name, and it had the reverse mortgage show that we did, and then they cut it up into different questions that you had asked me, and the guy said we explained it so well. He's in LA, he's got a $1.5 million home, he's 58, he wants to refinance it into a reverse mortgage now, because he's afraid that rates are going to go up, and he's doing it just to get rid of his payment for the rest of his life. So it can be done at 55 on the portfolio products, but the FHA is 62.
So folks, did you hear that? That's the thing, the beauty of a reverse mortgage. Maybe you're not ready to retire, but you're ready to not have a house payment anymore. And the inflation is cutting into your end of life plan, or and it'll change the way you live the rest of your life.
Retirement plans.
Whatever. You know what? Like, we're all going to live forever. We're not.
We're not?
No, we're not. Right. No.
And just like the show won't go on forever. And when we're here at the end of the show for today. Hey, yes, it's true. We're at the end of the show. Truly, as I said, the fastest hour of my week. I always say that. I want to thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. And I'm so thankful we had our guest on today, who was Todd Duncan. He's the thought leader, coach, authority on trust. You can reach out to Todd and his team at toddduncan.com. That's TODDDUNCAN.com. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch us via our podcast, or where you listen to your favorite podcast app, or you can just go to iHeart app and on your mobile device. That's what I do. Next week, we got fun when the America Graffiti Festival chairs come in from North Kiwanis Club. Brent Burnside and Charlie Christensen will join us. And, later on we'll get, so that one we'll be talking about fast cars, great music. And in the weeks ahead, we'll have more candidates on. And don't forget, our Mother's Day show will be about the baby boom you're not hearing about in the media or with a real expert. Who's coming in for that, Marlene? Please remember, stay calm out there and safe. We'll be proud to live in this land of opportunity where you can still build personal wealth through home ownership. We'll keep bringing you something to chew on here on Real Estate Jerky, broadcasting Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 10 a.m. You'll always find us on the podcast. Like I said before, just go, we're on Audible, we're everywhere. Just search Real Estate Jerky and you'll find us on Google. Marlene, you going to be here next week?
Yep, because Brent and Charlie, American Graffiti Festival, does bear. Oh, yeah, I can't say that, can I? Already got bleeped.
All right. And again, my MS license number is 235-384, and we'll talk to you next week.